Hello, dear friends. As promised, a new podcast. This time, our guest is David, a former morgue worker who encountered very frightening and inexplicable events. He had to quit his job because of it. Enjoy watching, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And we're live. Welcome back to Bad Dreams, Inc. I'm your friendly storyteller. Tonight's episode is different. We're not just talking about a story, we're talking to someone who lived one. In the studio with me is a man I'm going to call David. That's not his real name. He asked to stay anonymous. For the last 6 years, David worked as an attendant in a county morgue in the Midwest. He's here to tell us about the reason he quit. David, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I haven't really talked about this.
That's okay. We can go slow. Just tell it in your own words. Maybe start by telling us about a normal day at work. What was that like?
Normal was quiet. The morgue was in the basement of the county hospital. My job was intake and release. When a body came in, I'd log it, help place it in a cooler drawer, fill out paperwork. When the funeral home came, I'd release it. It was just a job. You get used to the quiet, the hum of the coolers. It's very clean, very still.
You said you worked there 6 years. What changed?
It started with the John Doe. This was about 8 months ago. Sheriff's department brought him in. Found him in a state forest about an hour north of here. No ID. Looked like he'd been out there a while. Exposure, they thought. Standard procedure. I logged him in, gave him a tag and a drawer.
Was there anything unusual about him when he came in?
No, nothing. He was just a man. Late 50s, maybe? The thing is, we get John Does. Not often, but we get them. They usually sit for a few weeks, sometimes months, until they're identified or eventually buried by the county. This one was different because of the tags.
The tags?
The toe tags. We use 2 tags. One stays on the body, one goes on the outside of the cooler drawer handle. It has the case number, the date, the name if we have it. For a John Doe, it's just a number. His was JD 447.
Okay.
2 days after he arrived, I was doing the morning check. I walk the rows, make sure the cooler doors are sealed, just a visual check. I get to his drawer, JD 447, and the tag on the handle is gone. Just the empty plastic loop.
Could it have fallen off? Maybe.
They're secured pretty tight, but it can happen. I opened the drawer to check the tag on his toe. It was there. So I printed a new tag for the handle, put it on, didn't think much of it. The next day, same thing. The new tag was gone. Just gone. I checked the floor, everywhere. Nothing.
Did you ask anyone? Maybe a cleaner moved it.
I asked the night attendant. He said he never touched it. The cleaner only comes once a week. I put on a 3rd tag. This time I used a different kind of fastener, one you really have to break to get off. I even took a picture of it on my phone after I closed the drawer.
And?
The next morning, it was gone again. The fastener was unbroken, just slid off the handle. The tag was gone. I checked the photo on my phone to make sure I wasn't crazy. I definitely put it on. I opened the drawer, the body was there, the toe tag was still on him. I felt cold. Not from the cooler, just a bad feeling. I didn't put a new tag on. I just left it.
Did anything else happen then?
Not right away. For a week, nothing. I avoided that drawer. Then the paperwork started.
Paperwork?
Release forms. I'd come in and find a signed release form on my desk for JD 447, authorizing the body's transfer to a funeral home. The first time, it was made out to Evergreen Memorial. There's no place by that name in the county. The signature was just a scribble. I threw it out. 2 days later, another one. this time for blackwood cremations, also doesn't exist. The signature was the same messy scribble. I started locking my office.
Could it have been a prank? Someone from another department?
Maybe, but who? The pathologists? The other attendants? They're not prank people. It's a morgue. You don't joke like that. And the feeling, it was getting worse. The whole cold room felt wrong. Like the quiet wasn't peaceful anymore. It was a waiting quiet.
Did you tell your boss?
I tried. I said there was a problem with the John Doe's paperwork. He said to figure it out. The county just wanted him processed. He didn't want to hear about missing tags. So I was stuck with it.
What happened next?
The phone calls to my desk line. I'd pick up and there would be silence, then a very quiet, hollow sound, like wind through a pipe or breathing into a cup. Then it would hang up. It happened 5-6 times a day. I had the IT guy check the line. He said it was fine, maybe a crossed wire. Then one afternoon, I picked up and the sound was different. It was a voice, very faint, very dry.
What did it say?
It said, "I'm ready to go now." Just that. I'm ready to go now. I slammed the phone down. I knew it was about him, about JD 447.
That's deeply unsettling. Did you see anything? Any other physical signs?
Just the papers. Now they were showing up other places. In my lunch bag, folded in my coat pocket. Always the same fake funeral homes, the same scribbled signature. I was getting no sleep. I'd jump at every sound. Then came the night I was alone. It was a Tuesday. The night guy called in sick. I volunteered to cover the shift. I don't know why. Maybe I thought facing it alone would end it? The night is long. Just you and the coolers. Around 2 a.m., the main lights in the cooler room always switch to night mode. They get dim. I was at my desk doing logs, and I heard a noise from the cooler room. A metallic click.
What kind of click?
The sound a cooler door latch makes when it's unlocked. It's a distinct sound. I froze. I listened. Nothing else. I had to check. I walked to the window in the door that leads into the cooler room. I looked in. The dim night lights were on. I could see the rows, and one drawer halfway down the row was open. Just a dark gap. It was his row. It was his drawer. I didn't want to go in, but I had to. A door open like that can affect the temperature for the whole unit. It's a problem. I put my hand on the door to the cooler room. The metal was ice cold. I went in. The air was so still. My footsteps were the only sound. I walked to the open drawer. It was JD 447. The drawer was open about 3 feet. The inside was dark. I couldn't see the body from where I was. I had to get closer to push it shut.
Was the body there?
I got closer. I put my hands on the cold steel edge of the drawer to look in, to push it. And inside, the body was turned on its side, facing me. Its eyes were open. They were clouded over. That's normal. But it was facing me. And its mouth was open slightly. I just stared. I couldn't move. And then a sound came out. Not from the mouth. It seemed to come from the whole drawer, from the cold air around me. It was the same dry, hollow voice from the phone.
What did it say?
It said, "You have my tags." Just that. "You have my tags." And then the hand, the dead man's hand, it twitched. Just the fingers, once. I stumbled back. I ran out of the cooler room, through the morgue, up the stairs. I didn't stop until I was outside in the parking lot. I called the security guard from my cell, told him there was a malfunction in the cooler system. I never went back in that night.
Did you go back at all?
I went back the next afternoon. My boss was furious. He said I left my post. I didn't explain, I just went to the cooler. The drawer was closed. I stood there for a full minute. Then I opened it. The body was on its back, like normal, eyes closed, mouth closed. The toe tag was in place. It was just a body again. But in the corner of the drawer, tucked under the edge of the sheet, was a piece of paper, a release form. This one was made out to a real funeral home, one in the next town over. And the signature? It wasn't a scribble this time.
Whose signature was it?
It was mine, my own signature. Perfect. I don't remember signing it. I would never sign a release without authorization. I took the paper. I went to my boss. I quit. On the spot. I gave no reason. I just left.
And that was it? You never found out who the John Doe was?
I tried to forget it. I got a new job, but about a month ago, I saw a news article online. A small piece. They'd finally identified that John Doe through dental records. His name was Robert Haynes. He was from Indiana, went missing on a hiking trip 2 years ago. The article said the case was closed, death by misadventure. But there was a detail. It said when he was found, all his personal effects were missing. His wallet, his backpack, everything. Except for one thing. In his pants pocket, they found a small, handmade leather pouch. Inside the pouch were 3 little squares of cardboard. Each one had a number written on it in faded ink. What were the numbers? The article didn't say, but I knew. I just knew. They were 4, 4, and 7. He was trying to tell someone his number, his morgue number, JD 447. He wanted to be identified. He wanted to be released, and he thought I was stopping him by losing his tags, by not processing him. He thought I was keeping him there.
That's a horrifying thought. Do you think it's over?
I thought so, until I started this new job. It's at a warehouse, shipping and receiving. We use inventory tags, little plastic tags with barcodes. Last week, a box came in, no sender address, just my name on it. Inside the box were 3 toe tags, blank, and a single sheet of paper. It was a photocopy of a release form for the transfer of remains. The name of deceased field was blank. The authorizing signature line had my signature on it. And at the bottom, where it says facility of origin, someone had typed in the name of that county morgue. And next to it, they'd handwritten a case number. What was the number? It wasn't JD 447. It was a new number, one I didn't recognize. I threw it all out, but the feeling is back. That cold, waiting feeling, like I'm being asked to do my old job again, from here, and I don't know how to stop it.
Whoa, okay, that's a lot to process. So you're saying you think this is still happening? That it's attached to you now?
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's him or the place or just something that uses the dead to get attention. But it knows me. It has my signature. It sent a package to my new job. How did it know where I work?
Have you had any more contact since that package?
Not contact. No calls, no papers, but things happen at home. I live alone in an apartment. Last Tuesday I woke up and my apartment was freezing. The thermostat was set to 72, but it was 62 degrees. All the windows were shut. I checked the heat, it was working fine. It warmed back up in an hour. Then, 2 days later, I found my fridge door standing wide open in the morning. Food was spoiled. I thought maybe I sleepwalked, but I've never done that.
Could it be coincidence? Stress?
Maybe, but then there's the numbers.
What numbers?
On my digital clock, the one by my bed. It's just the normal clock. 3 times now I've woken up in the middle of the night, not from a dream, just wide awake. And I'll look at the clock, and instead of the time, the display just shows 3 digits. 447.
Your old case number.
Yeah, it shows for a few seconds, then it goes back to the correct time. I unplugged the clock. I threw it out. But it's not about the clock. It's about the message. It's reminding me. It's saying it hasn't forgotten.
David, this sounds like it's escalating. Have you thought about, I don't know, getting help? Talking to someone?
Like who? A priest? A therapist? What would I say? A dead man I logged in is leaving me paperwork? They'd think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. That's the worst part. I lie awake at night wondering if the stress of that job finally broke me, if I'm imagining all of it.
But the package was real. You physically held it.
I did. It was real. And that's what keeps me from writing it off. The tangible things, the tags that disappeared, the forms, the package. It leaves just enough proof to let you know you're not dreaming, but not enough for anyone else to believe you.
Let's go back to the new number on the form in the package. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I remember. It was ME223.
ME as in medical examiner?
Right. That's the prefix for newer cases that come directly to the medical examiner's side of the morgue. Usually means it's a death that needs an autopsy. Suspicious circumstances, maybe.
Did you ever look that number up, see if it was real?
I tried. About a week after I got the package, I called an old coworker. Not a friend, just someone I knew was still there. I made up a reason, said I thought I'd left some old tax papers in my desk, and asked if he could check a case number for me in the computer to see if it was connected to my old files. I gave him ME223.
What did he say?
He got quiet. He said, "Why are you asking about that?" I told him my made-up story again. He said, "David, that case is active. It's locked. I can't see anything except the number and the intake date." I asked when the intake date was. He said it was the day after I quit. The body came in the day after I left.
So it's a real case.
It's a real number, a real body. That's when I felt truly sick. This wasn't about the past anymore. It was current. This thing, whatever it is, wanted me to know about a new body. I asked my coworker if it was a John Doe. He couldn't say. He sounded nervous. He told me not to call him again about work stuff and hung up.
That's incredibly specific and threatening. Have you considered that someone alive might be doing this? A person?
I've turned it over in my head 1,000 times. Who? Why? The night attendant? My old boss? What would be the point? To scare me into not talking about something? I didn't see anything wrong. There was no secret, just a dead man in a drawer. And if it is a person, how are they doing the other things? The voice, the body turning, the clock, the cold.
You said the voice told you, "You have my tags," but you didn't have them. They disappeared.
I know. I've thought about that. What if it wasn't an accusation? What if it was a statement? You have my tags. Like, I am the one who is supposed to have them. I am the one responsible for his paperwork, for his release. And I failed, so he stuck to me. And now, with this new number, ME223, maybe it's giving me another chance. Or maybe it's giving me a new assignment.
A new assignment? What does that mean?
I don't know. But the form it sent had my signature and a blank line for the deceased's name. It wants me to fill it out, to complete the release. But how can I release a body I've never seen, from a morgue I don't work at anymore?
This is where it becomes less about a haunted morgue and more about you, personally.
It feels personal. It feels like a job I can't quit. The cold in my apartment, it's the same cold from the cooler room, that specific dry cold. I feel watched. Not all the time, but sometimes. When I'm about to fall asleep, I'll hear that metallic click, the sound of a cooler latch unlocking. But it's in my dark bedroom. There's no cooler there.
What do you do when that happens?
I lie still. I don't open my eyes. I pretend to be asleep until morning because I'm afraid of what I'll see if I look. I'm afraid I'll see a number on my clock or a shape in the corner. Or worse, that I'll open my eyes and see that I'm not in my bed at all,
that I'm back there in the cold room, standing in front of an open drawer.
David, I have to ask, why come on the podcast? Why tell this story now?
Because it's getting harder to ignore, and because of the last thing that happened. 3 nights ago, I was on my couch. I wasn't asleep, I was just watching TV, and the power went out. Not in the whole building, just in my apartment. The TV went black, the lights went off, and in the silence, in the dark, I heard a new sound. Not a click, not a voice, a rustle, like paper. It was coming from my kitchen table. A streetlight outside my window gave just enough glow to see the table. There was nothing on it, but the sound kept going. Rustle, rustle, slide. Like someone was placing a single piece of paper on the table over and over. I sat there for an hour in the dark, listening to that sound. I couldn't move. When the power finally came back on, I looked. There was nothing on the table, but the feeling was overwhelming. It was here, in my home, and it was running out of patience.
I came on here because if this thing wants to be known, maybe I should let it be known. Maybe saying it out loud to people I can't see takes some of its power away. Or maybe it makes it angry. I don't know. But I can't just wait for the next thing to happen. I needed to tell someone. All of it.
I'm glad you did. I believe you. I don't know what's happening, but I believe you're experiencing something real. What are you going to do now?
I don't know. Move? Change my name? It has my signature. It found my job. I don't think distance matters. I think I might have to find out who ME223 is. I think that's the only way to make it stop.
How would you even do that? You don't have access.
I have the case number. I have the intake date. I could look for news, for missing persons reports from that time, see if I can find a name. And if I get a name, maybe I try to fill out that form. I write the name, I sign it again, and I don't know, burn it? Bury it? I have no idea what the rules are for something like this.
It sounds dangerous to engage with it.
So is waiting. Waiting for the next package. Waiting for the cold to come and not leave. Waiting to look at the clock and see a new number for a new body that I'll be responsible for. At least this way I'm trying to do the job, however messed up that sounds.
It sounds like you're trying to find closure for something that might not play by any rules we understand.
Closure. Yeah. The dead aren't supposed to need closure from us. We're supposed to provide it for the living. But this is different. This is a system error. A loop. JD447 didn't get processed right. Now he's stuck, and I'm stuck with him. And he's pointing me to ME223, like he's passing me the file, or passing me the torch.
The torch?
The responsibility. Maybe I wasn't the first. Maybe the night attendant before me quit for a reason nobody talked about. Maybe this duty gets passed down when someone leaves, and I left without finishing, so it followed.
That's a terrifying thought. A chain of attendants being haunted by unresolved cases.
All I know is I have to try something, and if something happens to me, if I stop showing up for work, or my apartment goes silent.
Don't say that.
If it does, then maybe someone will hear this and know it wasn't just in my head. Maybe they'll look up ME223. Maybe they'll be smarter than I was. Maybe they'll know how to fill out the form.
David, I think our time is running out for tonight. Is there anything else you want to say to our listeners? To it?
A long pause. Just that I'm ready. I'm ready to do the paperwork. So show me what to do, and then leave me alone.
That's a heavy note to end on, but I understand. David, thank you for sharing your story. It's one of the most disturbing accounts we've ever had on Bad Dreams, Inc. Listeners will include resources for stress and anxiety in the show notes. David, one last question before we go. Have you already started looking for ME223?
I have. After the night with the power outage, I started looking online. Local news, missing persons databases for the state. I used the intake date my old coworker gave me. It took a while, but I found a match. A brief article from a small town about 40 minutes from the city. A man named Arthur Vale, 68 years old. He went missing from a senior care facility. They found him a day later in a nearby creek. The article said the death was under investigation, but foul play wasn't suspected. Maybe a fall. It was a short piece. He had no family listed. The date he was found lines up with the intake date for ME223.
Arthur Vale. So you have a name.
I have a name. Last night I did it. I printed out a blank release form I found online. It's not official, but it looked close enough. I filled in the details. Deceased, Arthur Vale. Facility of origin, the county morgue. Case number, ME223. I signed my name. I did it at my kitchen table. The same table where I heard the rustling.
What did you do with it?
I didn't know what to do, so I did what you do with important paperwork. I put it in an envelope. I didn't have an address, so I just wrote the case number on the front, ME223. And then, I guess I performed a release. I walked to the post office. There's a main drop box outside, a big blue one. I stood there for a long time. Then I just dropped the envelope in. It was addressed to no one, to nowhere. Just a number. It felt stupid, but it also felt like the only move left.
How have you felt since then?
Calmer. The apartment has been warm. No clock issues, no clicks in the dark. It's been quiet. For the first time in months, it's just quiet. I almost let myself think it's over.
You say almost.
Because this afternoon, before I came here, I checked my mail. My regular mail. In my apartment mailbox. There was a single, standard white business envelope. No stamp. No postmark. My name and address were handwritten. The handwriting was neat, but it wasn't mine. I opened it. Inside was a small, rectangular slip of perforated paper, like a tab from a folder, the kind we use to label storage boxes in the morgue archives. On it, printed in faded computer font, was a name, Arthur Vale, and below it a single word, released.
It sent you a receipt.
Yeah, a confirmation. My crazy ritual worked. Or it decided to let me go. I should feel relieved. I do feel relieved, but I also feel empty. And I keep thinking about that main drop box at the post office. It gets emptied every day. The mail goes to a processing center. They would have seen that envelope addressed to just a number. They'd treat it as dead mail, undeliverable. They'd open it, see the strange form, probably recycle it. It would never get to the morgue. So how did I get this confirmation? How did it know?
Unless the system isn't a postal one, it's something else.
Right. I dropped it into a different kind of mailbox, and something else picked it up. Something that was waiting for me to finally send it. That's the thought I can't shake. That I'm not free because I solved a problem. I'm free because I finally did what I was supposed to. I completed the process. And that means the process was real. All of it was real.
So what now? You try to move on?
I'll try, but I'll always listen for the click. I'll always check the clock twice. And I'll always wonder, what happens to the mail that doesn't get delivered by the post office? Where does it really go? And who decides when it's time to send you the next empty envelope?
David, thank you again for your courage. I sincerely hope this is the end of it for you.
Thanks for letting me talk. I hope it's the end too. But for anyone listening who works in a similar place, check your tags, do your paperwork, and be careful what you drop in the mail.
Wise and chilling words. This has been Bad Dreams, Inc. Our guest has chosen to remain anonymous. If you have a story, you know where to find us. Remember, sometimes the worst dreams happen when you're wide awake.
Until next time.